I've already told you why Brad Wright is not involved in the new Stargate. I've already confirmed that this will be a revival and not a reboot. But what will this revival feel like? What will the show look like? Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So this is part 3 in my series of videos telling you what a source over at MGM Plus has been telling me about plans for a new Stargate series. As I said, he talked to me about how Brad Wright was never really an option, and that was always kind of a business decision. He's been able to tell me a little bit about plans from Amazon in regards to Stargate and really how they would sell Stargate, not just as a TV show, as movies, but as graphic novels, maybe more games, etc., etc., and how it would really fit in with the MGM Amazon model. He's told me about how, look, he's a fan of Stargate and how Amazon bosses are a fan of what Stargate represents for their channel. But now I wanted to drill him down and get into a little bit more specifics. What will the show actually feel like, and what have they actually done so far? He has been able to tell me that, look, they haven't got scripts, even though actually in another interview, not this one, he did tell me that there was a script for the movie, even though that movie idea has probably been scrapped now. He told me it has pretty much been scrapped now. There was a script, but it was a standalone movie and it wasn't going to influence the series anyway. I asked him, were there scripts for the series though? He said no, but there is a storyline idea for sort of 5 years. And there are lots of development work that's been done around what the show will look like and feel like. So I said, so what has been done in the last 18 months? He said, well, Stargate is not the only project over here we're looking at from the archive meaning the MGM back catalogue. But honestly, everyone is very aware that it would be very easy to, I'm going to say he said mess this up, but that's not what he said, to mess this up. History shows us reboots are notoriously difficult to get right. If you even think the word reboot, the entire internet rolls its eyes at you. New creators will bring new ideas. But let's be honest, if Brad and Joe came back, I'm sure they'd have new ideas themselves. But it must still feel like Stargate, whatever the new creators then produce. On feeling like Stargate, the tone of the show, what are the core things being talked about in that respect? I asked him. The talk is SG1. Atlantis and Universe had their own style, but our primary focus is SG1. So there has to be that spirit of adventure. Impossible odds to overcome, and that is really the challenging point, but also fun and camaraderie. That, to be honest, real life military has. The SGC would be a brotherhood in my eyes. It is existed if it existed in reality. Small teams putting lives on the line each time they stepped through the gate. We want that to come through. Now, there's a lot to unpack there, so let's have a think about it. For one, the spirit of adventure. Yeah. Every episode they were going into completely alien worlds, completely overmatched and undergunned. They basically were walking into things that they had literally no understanding of, particularly in the early series of SG1. SG1 was far more about that than maybe Stargate Universe, but I would argue that all 3 series had the same sort of spirit of adventure in that they bravely marched forwards, even though most of the time they had no clue what was going on. Now, I actually think that's really, really important, and that spirit of adventure really has to come through. But then he mentioned the impossible odds, and he just sort of said that's really the challenging point. And I dragged him back to that. So, impossible odds, why is that so challenging? I asked. He says, well, the SGC came so far in 10 years of SG1. Finding a place to restart that makes sense. Finding a place to restart that makes sense to the audience, but that still feels grounded has been the challenge. So I asked, what was the solution? He just smiled at me and didn't answer. Good. I moved on. So I get asked a lot about legacy characters. Will we see Daniel Jackson and others? He said, there has always been a plan for a core of legacy characters to return. The show would be based around a new cast, most likely, though. So I asked, Amanda Tapping in front and behind the camera, perhaps? He said, I cannot speak about specifics about actors, so that's not fair on them or us. But I will say that if you have a talent, you exploit it. And having names like Amanda on the cast list helps appease fans' concerns, doesn't it? I say it. And he said, probably yes, but our goal is always to get the best people in place that know the universe and know what we are trying to achieve with the TV show. Now, for this point, that was as much as I was able to get out of him. I'm afraid it was a very limited video interview. The interview was actually supposed to happen later in the day, slightly more organized way, but his schedule got messed up. So this turned into a very quick phone call. So this is where I need you guys now to think about the last 3 videos, think about what I did get to ask, think about the conversation we had there. What is next? What else do we need to know about this show? But recapping over the 3, we know it's going to be a revival 100%. We know there aren't scripts that make sense, so it hasn't gone into pre-production. We know this series was supposed to be standalone from the movie that now probably isn't happening. We know we're going to get some legacy characters, but they're not really going to tell us who that is at the moment. And I kind of understand that, because if he'd have gone, yeah, Amanda Carter is 100% going to be back in this, Amanda Tapping would have her Twitter just explode. So he said, look, it's not fair on them, it's not fair on us, we can't share that at the moment. And to be fair, it's annoying, but yeah, okay. But realistically, what do you want me to ask him in the next interview? He has, as I said previously, agreed to come on once all this has been officially announced, but for now we have a source that can tell us everything that is going on. What do you want to know? Think about what he can actually answer and get into the comments and throw your questions across. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, because it really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can go to patreon.com if you're desperate to see the views before everyone else, where they do premiere first. So get over there and check it out. That's patreon.com/SciTrek. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Okay, so here I am, editing the video you've just watched, enjoying a cup of tea, and I suddenly remembered, crap, I forgot a few things. Right, so in the build-up to having this conversation, oh look there, back of my head, I was bouncing emails backwards and forwards to this person, and a few things were asked at that point. One of the important things was I did ask, why has the movie idea been scrapped? What he basically said was that there was lots of ideas about how to move forwards with the movie and this standalone project that would reignite and restart the franchise. He said there was lots of really, really good ideas knocking around, but the more the planning went, the more the budget got out of hand. It was starting to get into quite an expensive proposition. And he just said, look, there was so much disagreement within the team about whether they should even do a movie and how to restart the franchise. It was just decided by the higher-ups that it was just getting out of hand. Basically, this decision, he said, was made in the summer in 2023. So I would argue that is around that time of that August meeting that we heard about, where Amazon executives asked MGM Plus executives to come in and explain to them basically what should be a TV series and not a movie. We know that meeting happened. We know a bunch of things that were talked about, but we don't actually know what the conclusion of it was. We do seem to now have that answer. So the conclusion was basically no movie. I think there is a lot of nervousness in Hollywood right now about the cinema and taking projects to the cinema, and Stargate. To be honest, I just think sensible heads prevailed, and they decided, oh, we're not so sure about this, so let's not spend 150 million quid on something we're not sure about. So that's fine. And what else did I ask him? I did ask, is this actually going to happen? And he did say, as I mentioned in the video, he swore a fair bit and sort of said, look, as long as nothing else gets effed up, this is going to happen. But he did add a caveat onto that during the email conversations about, look, only about 2 in 5 projects that get to this stage ever get made. So it's very much going to depend on lots of factors, including very practical things like sound stages and money and all this sort of thing. But that gives us about a 40% chance. 3 chevrons engaged. Get into the comments and tell me what you think, guys. Right, I'm going to get back to editing, and then afterwards I'm going to start building some Lego. Look what I'm building. What am I building? It's huge. Blue Bricks make big Lego models. Look at the size of it. There's only about 120 quid, and that's like not even a third done yet. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. Once I've done editing the video.